predictive value and the negative predictive value change with the prevalence, and which metric is of importance for a clinician. So we'll have to see. So the three major questions in front of us is, first of all, how to interpret these measures. What does sensitivity mean? What does specificity mean? And what are the other two means? Now, are these a measure contradict or complement each other? So like one go in a north direction and another in the south direction, or do we have to analyze or visualize the results considering them parallel or complementing to each other? That is the second thing we are going to see here. The third thing which I am going to say is whether sensitivity and specificity or positive predictive value and negative predictive value are of importance to a clinician. And most of us keep on reading about sensitivity, specificity, positive predictive value. We know, I think, the definition, but how actually it works in the reality, that we need to see. So, as you know, which I discussed previously also at the beginning of the session, that the objectives in the healthcare is to segregate diseased from the non-diseased, to understand how a disease develops and transmit over a period of time, and to provide appropriate and effective healthcare at the right time. So that importance of time is very, very sacrosanct when we are saying this. So now how we are going to do that? So we have multiple tests. In your routine life, you may be prescribing certain tests to the patients. So patients are coming to you on the basis of that. You make your diagnosis, right? So a good quality of screening and diagnostic tests are basically critical for your public health program and in the clinical setup where you see the patients. So because there are multiple number of tests, but then you recommend certain tests in order for certain disease, and those tests may be 100% reliable, maybe 80% reliable. Then how do we interpret that? Where are their role? So, you know why we do this? We do this because we face a dilemma. A patient coming to the clinic or a patient who is walking should be healthy, and we should able to segregate healthy from the unhealthy with as much certainty as we can. Yes, we want to be 100% certain, but the life is not that easy because probability always work. There are so many factors which work. So the test may give you 100% result, but it may be very, very costly. Your patient may not be able to afford it. In second case, a patient, you may recommend a test, but its sensitivity may be less compared. It is not that good a test or that good a treatment. But since it is not very costly, but it is an economical test, and looking at the condition of the patient, financial condition and other health issue, you recommended certain other tests. So you have to make certain choices when you do this thing. So then we have to do this. This is the objective of our analysis, to segregate the healthy from unhealthy or disease from non-diseased with a certainty. But certainty comes with a cost, and we can have the limited cost. So if you look at this picture, if you go to the population, when we look at the population, it is a general population which is in a community. Let us assume we do a screening test. Now, the problem is we do not know the status of the people. In fact, some of the people will also do not know their status at the time of the screening. Now, those people can be diseased, those can be non-diseased also. You did some screening tests, like cancer screening and some other TB screening we used to do. So let us say some screening is done. So on the basis of this screening, some patients are labeled as a non-positive and another patients are labeled as positive, right? So this is how we want. Now, ideally, what we want, ideally, all of us want that those who are tested here positive or screened positive should be positive. So all the positive or the diseased should be identified and segregated from all those who are non-diseased. But life is not that easy, isn't it? So there are always some intermix of positive into the non-positive and non-positive into the positive. So that is what we want to minimize. But first of all, we need to see why do we do screening. So some disease like cervical cancer may have certain lead time where clinical manifestation of the disease has not happened now. So you want to identify that disease before a certain time period so that an intervention can be made at an appropriate time so that you may be able to save either the patient's life or can enhance his or her quality of life. That is a very, very important criteria. And if you miss those vital points or the vital time frame, a person's life condition, life may be under threat, a quality of life may deteriorate, right? So the screening test usually give us an edge by identifying the patient before the manifestation of a clinical symptom. So that is what the advantage of screening is, and that is what we want to safeguard the patient. And in this way, maybe we can lower his or her cost also, because we are screening that patient where the treatment may not be that costly and it may be more efficacious or effective, and which may save the person's life. That is why we go for the screening test. So anybody have any question till this point of the time? Anybody any question, or shall we proceed? Okay, so we are good to go. So please unmute your mic if you have to ask a question, right? So
okay, Dr. Abhijit, you want to ask something? Dr. Abhijit, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes. You want to hear something? You want to ask something?
No, no, no.
okay,
Okay.
right.
Then
So
mute yourself and we will proceed further.
right. So now when we recommend a test to somebody, a test or an instrument should have two characteristics. So these two characteristics are basically the reliability and validity. Validity is also known as accuracy. What is accuracy? Accuracy is a person's weight is 50 kg and the instrument is measuring the exact 50 kg. That is what the accuracy is. And a reliability is, now a person's weight is a 50 kg, but the machine or the instrument is consistently measure a weight of 60 kg. Although machine is reliable because it is continuously measuring the weight as a 60 kg instead of an actual weight of the 50 kg, but the machine is not valid. So a test has to be both valid and reliable, right? So reliability is a repeatability. Can we repeat ourselves over a period of time? By chance, a person may score 80 marks in a test or can come as a positive. But once we are running a test again, that person is now coming as either positive or negative. We do not. So that means the test is not reliable actually. Okay, so a test has to be accurate also, it has to be precise. That means it has to be reliable also, repeatable also. These are the two characteristics your test should have or instrument should have. Sensitivity and specificity. So most of you know this definition and might have seen it in the repeated things. So we may not devote much of the time. Sensitivity is nothing but it is the test is giving you the positive results out of those who are diseased, right? So the test results are positive for the disease. But the problem of the life is we do not know who are the disease. So let me keep this caveat in the back burner and then we'll discuss this a little bit later. Similarly, specificity is the test is coming as a negative for all those who are non-diseased. So the test is negative who are like good or healthy, and the sensitivity is test is positive those who are unhealthy or diseased, right? So these are the two things. So that is what basically sensitivity and specificity is. Now sensitivity and specificity are the characteristics of the instrument or of the test. So it means the sensitivity and specificity does not depend upon the prevalence value. Even if a prevalence of a particular disease in a population is a 5%, 10%, 15%, 20 or whatsoever value, your sensitivity and specificity value will remain the same. These are also known as measure of discrimination, which discriminates actually the positive from the negative, right? So this is also known as the measure of discrimination. So now let us first of all dissect this, what is sensitivity and specificity in reality, because most of us have seen this definition. Now if you look at this table, most of us have seen this table, but I don't know whether we have seen in the light in which we want to see. Once, now you know that I have written on the left hand side the screening test results. Those are the results which your lab test or maybe instrument is telling you, and ideally you have access to these only, maybe lab test or your own diagnostics which you are making. And then in another situation there is a true disease status which comes in a column wise, which I have written at the top, true disease status, and in column I have written disease, and in the second column I have written non-disease. But this we do not know. We are just assuming that in a population there are certain diseases and some non-disease, and we want to identify them with the screening test results, and that is where most of the problem arises. So now sensitivity is nothing but the true positive over all disease. So if you look at the all disease are in the first column, hypothetical. So all disease are basically true positive, but our test, lab test, is going to declare some positive as a negative also. So that is, the people who are positive, we are declaring them falsely negative. We are telling them, no, you are okay, you are healthy. So we are telling, no, you are healthy, isn't it? So where they are not healthy actually, so we are declaring false negative. So that is why it is A divided by A plus C. Similarly, when we talk about the specificity is running a test on all the healthy. Now, but you see, all the healthy will have some positive value. So now you can think of this in terms of, let us say you want to decide about the systolic, you want to decide a cutoff of a systolic blood pressure to declare whether somebody is a hypertensive or not hypertensive. Now the problem is those who will be normotensive also, those who like systolic blood, they are not hypertensive, their systolic blood pressure and those who are hypertensive will be coinciding at certain region. Definitely those who will be not hypertensive, their systolic blood pressure will fall on the lower side of the scale. And those who are hypertensive, their systolic blood pressure may lie on the right hand side of the scale. But there will be in the middle somewhere where both these systolic blood pressure, both the groups will be like crossing each other. So that is the problem where we are working on, isn't it? So now, this is now problem of sensitivity and specificity. Let us go slightly further. So let us try to visualize now your sensitivity and specificity in terms of our diagram, visual diagram, because I believe the visual diagram help us figure out in a better way. So non-disease ideally healthy, I have denoted them with the green symbol. Yes, everybody wants to be healthy. Fine, green. Now, red. Always like we give a sign to the danger. So disease is a danger. Yes, we have kept it as the red. Now, this is non-disease and disease is a hypothetical situation. But we are running tests on these people. So that running of those tests or the lab test, we are denoting with this scattered dots. The green dot is again telling me the results are negative. So everybody want to have a negative results, right? So that is why we denoted here with the green dots. Similarly, when we are talking about the positive test result, because it is for the disease positive, so red dot marks are given here. So these are for the test and those are for the population. So now, if you look at the next slide, if you see the fifth one, true negative. So this means we have recommended a test to somebody, that person was actually negative and our test has also told us that the person is negative. So I'm glad, yes, isn't it? Everybody wants that, okay, they are negative to a certain unhealthy condition and that person, a test is also telling that yes, person is healthy. That's fine, it's a good news. But now, if you look at it another way, now there will be some diseased who will be declared as that they are healthy. So the second false negative. So those people were unhealthy or they were diseased, but they were declared as healthy. It tend to happen. So tests tend to miss the people who are diseased, isn't it? That do happen and we have to minimize them. Similarly, the false positive. So the person here is healthy in reality, but we do not know the reality. And then we ran a diagnostic test and we declared person as a disease. So you look at the stigma and the tension which a person must undergo. Let us say if you declare somebody have a cancer when the person don't have the cancer, you declare that you are HIV positive where the person is not HIV positive in reality. But that is the problem where we are suffering, and that is why we want to keep the people either into the true negative zone or into the true positive zone. But the gray area we want to minimize, but that is a part and parcel of our daily routine practice. Now the last option is you have the disease patient who actually have the disease and your test also declare, lab test also tells you or compliment you that yes, person is positive. So that is the last option. So you people please just take a brief moment to look into these. Okay, what does it mean? Because our next presentation, the whole premises of next presentation depends upon this slide. I hope you have now reviewed this. You'll keep this in mind. And let's now move on to the next slide. So let us assume that the prevalence of a disease in a population is 30% because you just have to estimate what is the disease prevalence.
স্যার এমনিতে পোস্টটা দেখছি
So we are getting some sort of a disturbance from some places also. So then it is not becoming clear that either you are asking the question or are you like discussing there with somebody. Okay, so again we'll proceed. So in your screen now you are seeing a hypothetical population where the prevalence of the disease is 30% in that population. So each of the row you have 20 participants. And then you have 5 rows. That means we are talking about the 100 participants. So out of the 100, if you can see the 30% prevalence, if it is there, out of 100, your 30 are represented by the red color and 70 are represented by the green color. This is what the reality. Now, an ideal test should identify all the 100% diseased from the all the 100% or non-diseased. So ideally, we want a test to be 100% sensitive and 100% specific. But unfortunately, it do not happen in life, right? So in reality, it do not happen. So we have to make a little bit sacrifices. So we'll see. Now, sensitivity, as we know, refers to how good a test is at correctly identify people who have the disease. So now in this case, you are seeing that out of 30 participants, 24 are correctly identified. You can see the red symbol on there. The 24 are correctly identified, where 6 are positively declared as negative. 6 are falsely declared as negative. So that is why you are seeing the green marks over the red mark. So now, what does it mean? It means the people who were diseased, among them we were able to identify, or the test able to identify 24. So the true positive, which were diseased, were 24, and the test was not able to identify 6. So we are working on the first column in this case, 30, right? So now our sensitivity of this test is 24 correctly identified out of 30 is 80%. So we are working on the first column right now. That is what the sensitivity is. Now, similarly, when we talk about the specificity is how good the test is at correctly identifying people who are healthy or who are not diseased. If you look at the green symbols, then you are seeing that the 14 of the people have a red dots over there. That means out of 70, we were not able to identify 14 correctly, right? So what are we talking about here? So we are talking about the second column, specificity. So out of 70 who were healthy or non-diseased, we were able to tell convincingly that yes, they are negative. So true negative is 56. We were not able to identify 14. So 15, 6 plus 40 is 17. So our specificity value is truly identified, true negative, divided by the total number, which is 70. And again, specificity of the test is 80%. So the test which we are running on our data with the prevalence of 30% have a sensitivity and specificity of 80%, right? So far it seems like a good test. That's fine. So I hope sensitivity and specificity is clear to you. But my dear friends, in reality, do you know that who are diseased or who are non-diseased? It's a major issue. We do not know who are diseased or who are non-diseased. If we already know who are diseased and who are non-diseased, we may not need the test itself at all in the first place, isn't it? Why we are running the lab test? So that is why the sensitivity and specificity data usually come from the test developer, where they have the database of all the diseased people and they have the data of all the non-diseased people. And they tell you the sensitivity and specificity of the test. But when we go into the clinical setup, we do not have the database of that person. We cannot say convincingly. That is why at the first place, a patient has come to you for the diagnosis. So you do not know whether the person you are declaring as a positive on the basis is a positive is truly disease. You look at now the clinician dilemma. So we'll talk about clinician's dilemma now. So we are clinicians, the importance of PPV and NPV value is for a clinician. What is a PPV is nothing but the positive predictive value. So when a patient comes to a clinician or a doctor, Then you ran certain tests. Then you have to decide out of all those positive who have done, how many are positive, right? So the person, you have some total positive. So all the people who have the disease condition. So you look into this, now you're working as a row wise rather than the column wise. So in the sensitivity value, like companies who are making the test or kit, they have the data set of the disease and non-diseased, or they may have some gold standard, but you may not have that luxury. So in reality, your test is only telling it is positive or it is negative. If you look at the row wise, it is positive or negative. And among them positive, it could be truly positive because the person was diseased, or your test can falsely declare some people are diseased when in fact the person in reality was not diseased. So that is why positive predictive value is equal to true positive divided by true positive plus false positive. And that is where the clinician's dilemma is, because clinician do not know the true status of the patient, and then from all the positive, then the clinician asks himself a question on the basis of this test, can I declare my patient as a positive? Similarly, negative is same. When the subject is negative, can you declare the person as negative? So this is positive. Let us see now this in the light of what we have seen in the table. So now I hope you know this. What is a positive predictive value, negative predictive value? Now we are working row wise. So you see screening test result positive. So our true positive numerator is going to remain the same as it was for the sensitivity, but the denominator is going to change from it, and it is not true positive plus false positive, because we have only access to screening test result. We do not know the reality of the patient. Similarly, negative positive value. Now let us see with the diagram. So now you see with the diagram, I have just a little bit rearranged this data. So now in the previous diagram, while calculating, while looking at a sensitivity and specificity, you have looked at the disease patient separately and you have looked at the non-disease patient separately, and you calculated sensitivity and specificity. Here I have mixed, because as a clinician, you only know that these are my total pool of positive patient. Out of these total positives, some may be healthy and some may be unhealthy. So let us say, first of all, now go again. It is the same data set. So V40, which were healthy, were declared as a disease in this case. So now, if you look, what is the total number? Total number is nothing. The 24, which is true positive, plus 14, 38. Actually, 38 patient have declared as positive. So let us say now positive predictive value. So if you look at those, so out of 38, which your lab test or you have declared to be diseased, out of that 24 are truly positive, right? And now B is equal to rest all are, your test is falsely declared as 14. So what is the positive predictive value here clinician is working on? 63% only, whereas sensitivity it was 80%. And in this case, you look at, and as a clinician, you only will be knowing positive predictive value. You'll be working with the positive predictive value. So 63.16%. Now, similarly, if you look into all the healthy patients who are declared as healthy, but among them, there will be certain patient or there will be certain participant with the disease who will be declared as a negative or healthy, which is wrong. So how many we have declared as healthy, which were non-healthy? 6, right? So let us see what is the number. So the total number is 62, 56 who were truly negative plus 6 which were falsely declared as negative, is C plus D is equal to 62. So your negative predictive value, you see now the negative predictive value has increased 90% there. Sensitivity and specificity was 80% here, whereas positive predictive value is nearby 60% and negative predictive value is nearby 90%. So you have to take the call on the basis of this, whether a person is positive or negative. So it brings me to the another issue. So does our positive predictive value and negative predictive value depend upon the prevalence of the disease? Because I previously discussed that the sensitivity and specificity value do not depend upon the disease prevalence. It is going to remain the same. Okay, but your positive predictive value and the negative predictive value is going to depend on your disease prevalence. So we can look this into. So we have taken a hypothetical population of 10,000. You can see the total maybe in the fourth row total which I have written. There is one total at the bottom and there is one total at the middle, somewhere in the middle. So in the 1% disease prevalence category. So in the first situation, the disease prevalence is 1%. So it means out of 10,000 people, if disease prevalence is 1%, 100 patients have the disease, right? Now, if the sensitivity of the test is 90%, 99%, then 99% will be truly identified as positive. So you will be seeing in the first, into the third column, which is written ill and test result positive, you are seeing 99. So 99 out of 100 are correctly identified, right? So similarly, now non-ill also, so 100 were ill. So 9,900 are non-ill or healthy. So now, if you're talking about 99% specificity, so that means 9,405 out of 9,900 are correctly identified as non-ill. So now you know how to calculate positive predictive value. The true positive divided by the true positive plus falsely negative, which is nothing but 99 plus 495, which is 594. So now your positive predictive value is coming as 17%. Now let us see the same example with sensitivity and specificity. You're using the same kit, let us say, same diagnostic criteria, but now you are utilizing this kit or the diagnostic criteria in a population where disease prevalence is higher. Now it is 5%. So now you can see if the disease prevalence is of 5%, so out of the 10,000 people, it is the 500 people. Previously, it was 100 people because the disease prevalence was 1%. Now it is 5%, which is 500 of 10,000. So if you look at the sensitivity, so as per 99% sensitivity, we're able to identify 495 people out of 500 correctly. Similarly, out of 9,500 non-disease, we're able to identify correctly 9,025. So now you can see the positive predictive value. So the positive predictive value now will be 495, which is truly positive, and then falsely negative. So 475. No, falsely positive, 475. The total of it is coming as 970. And now you are getting a positive predictive value of 51%. So you should always remember this thing. Any diagnostic test or any criteria which you are running have different interpretation depend upon the disease prevalence as a positive predictive value and the negative predictive value. Whereas the sensitivity and specificity are the kit characteristics or the test characteristics, instrument characteristics, which is going to remain the same, no matter whatsoever is the prevalence of the condition. However, your positive predictive value of identifying a patient in a clinical setup is going to change. But perhaps I should use is going to increase with the increase in the prevalence. So if you're using a very good test with a 99% specificity, 99% sensitivity and 99% specificity, you may only able to detect 17% of the patient. But if you're going to use the same diagnostic kit in a population where disease prevalence is 5%, you may able to correctly identify in your clinics the 51% of the patients. So you can see the difference. So in the light of these, you have to make opinion regarding recommending somebody your test or not recommending some test, or go for the mass screening. Because once you go for the mass screening, cost is a major criteria. So that is why you have to make the careful and informed choices. Now the another thing is, which you have to keep in mind, when a patient comes to your clinic, is basically a part of the disease cohort group. The patient is not a part of your general community setting. In a community, you have maybe more number of healthy, unhealthy, but the patient who are coming to you is not a part of healthy or a random part of that healthy population. So you might have come across a studies where where people have recommended that the hospital-based study finding cannot be replicated in a community setting. But in a clinic, you should take this positive predictive value very, very carefully and maybe try to run certain tests more in order to declare person as a positive, considering what is the disease prevalence in your area on a particular disease in which you are working. So now let us summarize our sensitivity and specificity. So we have seen that yes, the disease prevalence was 30%, which is represented here in a summary table. So there 70 were healthy and 30 were non-healthy, 30 were unhealthy. So now, but we only have, in reality, we only have some diagnostic criteria or lab test which tells us whether a patient who comes to you is a positive, is whether healthy or whether unhealthy. So now the red dots over the green is telling that I am declaring somebody unhealthy when in reality that person is healthy. And the green dots at the bottom on the left hand side represent I am declaring a person as a healthy on the basis of my lab or a diagnostic test when in reality person is unhealthy or diseased. So sensitivity is nothing but identifying true positive among all the disease. So disease were 30, which yes, falsely you declare them negative also, but those were the people with the disease, and true positive. So true positive divided by people with the disease is known as sensitivity. If you look at the specificity, specificity is truly negative, that means truly healthy, which is denoted with the green dots with the green face on the right hand side, and similarly divided by all those healthy. Now these are identified with the test. True negative are identified with the help of a diagnostic criteria or test by you people. So, and but out of 70, these are 56 has been correctly identified by the test. So this is sensitivity and specificity. Now let us look at now positive predictive value, negative predictive value. In reality, you do not know who are disease, non-disease. Let us say X number of patients. If you get 38 patient comes to your clinic, which is represented by the people with the positive test. I'm representing here with the people with the positive test. Or on the left hand side, you can see continent all the people who have the red dots. So those are declared positive by the test. So those are basically your positive. So that is denoted by people with the positive test. But out of these positive, some are falsely declared as positive, which were healthy. So those are people with the positive test, and those who are correctly identified, those are true positive. So the positive predictive value is nothing. The true positive divided by true positive plus falsely positive, right? And similarly, negative predictive value, if you'll see at the right hand side bottom, you may be seeing 74 or 78 people. Among that, you have declared some people on the basis of your test as healthy, whereas some of them were not healthy actually, right? So then true negative are those who are declared positive and they were diseased also. So that is negative predictive value is nothing but the identification of true negative divided by true negative plus false negative, which is falsely declared as negative. So I'll just give you one more minute to just maybe sink in these sensitivity and specificity first. So maybe just and now positive predictive value, negative predictive value. So what is our take-home message? Take-home message is diagnostic test, give test characteristics and they do not give us the predictive values. So any test kit which comes and which claims that this has so much high sensitivity and specificity is only telling about the characteristics and that has been tested under the ideal situation. But as a clinician or the person who is working with the patient, you don't have those ideal conditions, right? And those kits do not tell you about the predictive value. They cannot tell the predictive value because predictive value used to vary with the disease prevalence. And that is why sensitivity and specificity are referred as a measure of discrimination. So out of all disease, how can it positively discriminate the positively and how it can discriminate the negative? So known as, and it is purely known as the test characteristics or instrument characteristics. It do not depend upon the prevalence or other criteria. Moreover, sensitivity and specificity ranges from 0 to 1. You might have seen it in terms of percentage also, 80%, 90%. So that will 0 to 1, you can multiply it with 100 and you can convert it into the percentages. Whereas sensitivity and specificity is independent of prevalence. However, your positive predictive value and negative predictive value depend upon the disease prevalence and it is the measure of prediction. That means any patient who is coming to you, you are going to predict whether that patient is truly positive or not positive from the running the test criteria, and that is why these are also known as the measure of prediction. Having said that, I think we have covered sensitivity, specificity, and positive predictive value, negative predictive value. So if you have any doubts, you may please ask me by unmuting your mic.
Oh. Yes, Dr. Yes, sir, you can ask.
Please, Dr. Bora, go ahead if I am audible.
Am I audible?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Thank you for the. Yes, you are audible, sir. I have a query. Yeah, you said, sir, that the predictive measures of prediction, that is PPV and NPV,
Your
are
voice is not
dependent on
clear.
the prevalence of a disease. Hence, that we will be picking up the positive cases with more confidence, right? Is it better now?
Okay, can you repeat your question? Your voice was not clear.
Is it better? Yeah. So I was saying that the measures of prediction, that is positive predictive value and negative predictive value, they are dependent on the prevalence of the disease, right? And greater the prevalence, greater is the chance that we will be picking up a condition with more confidence.
Yes,
Isn't it so?
Yes.
So my question to you, sir, is if a rare condition, a condition which is not very frequent, are suspecting such a condition, in such a case, which is the test characteristic that we should focus on, that we should emphasize on?
Very good question. This is, in fact, if it is a rare disease, obviously you won't have any other go but to have the test with the highest sensitivity and specificity. But you are forgetting one thing, maybe, that how much cost is also involved, because cost is a major criteria. Yes, you may recommend somebody that yes, you go for this test, sensitivity and specificity, the higher the value. But if the test is beyond the reach, then definitely you have to think about, but in a nutshell, you cannot do anything about it. You have to go about sensitivity and specificity. Moreover, your positive predictive value depend upon certain other factor also. Due to paucity of time, I could not able to cover them. One is when you're parallelly running multiple tests. So let us say you have test A, test B, test C. So then when you parallelly run all the tests, your positive predictive value increase actually. Okay, so you have to run in that case 2-3 tests simultaneously, different tests, and then maybe you may able to identify that person.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Any other question? Dr. Abhijit, you have any query?
Oh, it's fine.
Okay. So, and anybody else? Yes, yes, sir. Yes, Dr. Devashish. Yes, yes. Please go ahead.
No, sorry, sir, you are not audible. Just click on those 3 dots. First mute video and then unmute it. Hello, Dr. Devashish. Our apologies, you're not audible to us.
Check.
What likelihood ratio?
We will cover it next lecture.
Sir, we'll cover it, and it is just a minor extension of it. Definitely a very important criteria actually, where it tells about your sensitivity and false positivity. And yes, it's a very important in order to select any test. But unfortunately, due to paucity of time, I cannot cover your how your positive predictive value changes with a sequential test. So once you do the screening, and then after that you're calling the patient again for certain follow-up test. Like when we test HIV positive patient and we run ELISA test, but then we do the confirmatory test as the Western blotting test. So how our positive predictive value and the negative predictive value changes as per that. That also I could not able to cover, and likelihood ratio also I could not able to cover. But what I may do is we'll share the slides with you, and perhaps maybe for that we need a little longer lecture. May not be able to cover and justify in one lecture. That is one issue.
With that, I have also shared a feedback form in the chat box. You can take 5 minutes to fill it up.
Before that feedback form, I just want to ask, does anybody have any other question? Yes. Maybe you should share the PDF. This will not be shared with them?
No.
Okay, so you make the PDF version of this, and maybe then you can share. This time. Or depend upon, look at the protocol, what Madam used to say.
Okay.
I don't know.
I will ask.
Just ask, and maybe you can share the PDF version.
So you can fill the feedback form. Okay, we will share the slide with you. we will definitely share by email these slides. So any other question?
So thank you all for
Okay.
your time.
Okay. Thank you very much.